Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into my official college football week 3 upset alert special. And guys, these are teams that are currently favored by Vegas that I think possibly may lose. And of course, guys, we know the Georgia at South Carolina game on Monday. I came out and I said, I think South Carolina wins this game outright. This can only be described as a total career breakthrough for me. You know, I'm someone that's already considered by the community to be a college football expert. This will only push me to the next level, calling the biggest upset of the 2022 college football season. So guys, I want to thank everyone. This has been such an amazing moment. Tomorrow, when I get this right, I'm going to be viral. It's going to be an absolute career breakthrough. And wow, guys, all the signs are there. The vision is there. Everyone thinks Ohio State's flawed. Alabama's flawed. Georgia, they're the golden team. How could they lose? I just checked the line. It's up to Georgia minus 25. Oh. Well, guys, Georgia is losing tomorrow. You take a look. Everything is there. They've got a nice team, but they are definitely due. I could see things spiraling on them very quickly. It's a noon game. It's going to be quiet. It's going to be low scoring early. South Carolina is going to go throughout this game, building up momentum, building the confidence to knock off the current number 1 team, and it's going to be great for college football. It's a game nobody thinks. People have been saying 42-17, 42-0. South Carolina can't score. Guys, this is what happens in college football. Things like this that nobody think can happen, they end up happening. So guys, thank you. This is such a big breakthrough for my career tomorrow when this happens. And I am so grateful, guys. So that's my first big upset. This is a game I don't think this is going to be an upset. But if I'm an Oklahoma fan, I'm pretty pissed off because this is basically a lose-lose situation. If you beat Nebraska tomorrow at 11 a.m. Central when this game is kicking off, you were supposed to beat Nebraska. They just fired their head coach. They're 1-2. They just lost to Georgia Southern. You get no brownie points for beating this team. And then if the impossible happens, let's say you win a game but it's close or you lose, you get absolutely crushed. Nebraska is going to be galvanized. They just fired their head coach. They're at home. The big noon game is there. I would be very wary and very pissed off if I'm an Oklahoma fan. The only thing that you can do is go in there, jump out to an early lead, give Nebraska and their fan base no hope, get out to a quick 14-0 lead against a bad Nebraska defense. They gave up 45 points to Georgia Southern. I'm just saying, it's really a lose-lose for Oklahoma unless they win like 49-7 or something like that. So this game could be one. I could see an upset. Oklahoma's offense did struggle against Kent State. Maybe you can say lack of motivation. You're facing Kent State. You're 30-point favorites. Whatever. I don't know. Either way, Oklahoma, I would be a little bit wary. If they still had Scott Frost, I would feel a lot better if I'm an Oklahoma fan. And it's not even that that Scott Frost is this horrifically bad coach. It's just the idea that they fire Scott Frost. The narrative is there to galvanize under an interim head coach. It's a new era. The fan base is going to be fired up. You're playing with nothing to lose. All of those things go into a possible upset. And then also it's an 11 a.m. game, which normally you would think is an advantage to the road team. But in this situation, it might actually be an advantage to Nebraska starting this game at 11 a.m., the big noon game. I think Oklahoma wins, but this is not an Oklahoma team and an Oklahoma offense I'm extremely confident in, to be completely honest. The next game, a lot of people wouldn't consider this an upset, but Oregon is 3.5-point favorites. They are at home. I have BYU winning a close game. I love BYU. BYU had a great win last week versus Baylor. If they win this, that would be absolutely huge for their team. Oregon, of course, coming off that horrible loss week 1. It is the current number one team in the nation, Georgia. They lost to. They win week 2 and drop a 70 burger on Eastern Washington, the FCS school. But this is a game, I just think BYU is a really solid team. They've got a veteran enough quarterback. Hopefully they're able to get their receivers back. They were without 2 of their best receivers last week and still beat Baylor at home. And again, they're 3-point underdogs, mainly because this is a road game. BYU, very tough schedule this year. This would be an absolute... This could push them maybe inside the top 10 if they're able to beat Oregon on the road. Oregon, I think, is currently ranked number 25. They just re-entered the overall AP poll rankings. Next upset, this is another game where if you don't pay attention to Vegas lines, you would not consider this an upset at all. Michigan State is currently ranked 11th in the nation. Washington is unranked, but Vegas has Washington 3.5-point favorites. They were 4-point favorites. I think that line's been bet down a little bit. If you look at the advanced analytics, anything, they say that Michigan State should really be like a field goal favorite, and I've got Michigan winning this game 30-20. There have been Michigan State fans this week that have said, I understand why we're underdogs. Michigan State has not played unbelievably, especially their quarterback on offense this year. But I think this is a similar game to Michigan State's last big non-conference road game last year at Miami. I believe they were slight underdogs in that one. They went in and just completely, thoroughly outplayed Miami. The Big Ten needs this win, especially after the debacle last week between Washington State and Wisconsin. Statement game for Michigan State. I do think Michigan State is a little bit overranked. I don't think they're the 11th best team in the country. I'd say they're 15th or 16th, but this would be a really nice win over Washington. But guys, I also have to say, how really good is Washington? What has Washington proven this year? I know they got the transfer QB from Indiana, but I'm really not scared of Washington. They've had kind of down years. I know they got a new coach. There's life into their program again, you could say, but it's not like they've proven a lot this year. It's like people get romantic about teams beating up on bad teams. Like, there's a bunch of Michigan fans who are bragging about how good their teams look and how good J.J. McCarthy is. You're facing nobody with a pulse. It's impossible to judge. I don't take anything from those games. So it's like you have to understand, take it with a grain of salt. I think Michigan State wins this game on the road 30-20 over a Washington team that really is unproven, and the only reason they're favorites is because they are at home. This is the 7:30 ABC game, 4:30 Pacific. So it's going to be a little interesting there, 4:30 Pacific. And then UTSA at Texas. Just such an unfortunate situation for Texas. I actually have UTSA pulling up off the upset and winning this game. Quinn Ewers is out. Hudson Card might try and give it a go. He's questionable at best. Both quarterbacks injured. Texas blew their load last week. It's going to be a letdown game at home. If there's one team that deserves to face an FCS team this week, it's Texas, and they have to play UTSA. I'm sure when they scheduled this game, they thought UTSA was going to be a lot worse than they've been. UTSA around 10.5, 11-point underdogs. It just feels like the typical upset for Texas, where you're injured. You had the major game last week. So much emotion went into it. Looked like you were going to win. You end up losing. Again, UTSA is not a bad team. This is not like an FCS 30-point favorite for Texas. This is not a walkover with the quarterback injuries. I'm concerned about Texas having a letdown game. If they come out and they win by 28 points, that's a great sign. A great sign, for Texas football. And then the final one, let me just say, I also like Louisville over Florida State tonight. I think that's a parity game. I don't think Florida State goes to 3-0, and I also don't think Louisville drops to 1-2. There are questions about the playmakers that Louisville has surrounded. Malik Cunningham is a great quarterback, but does he have any playmakers? I still think it's a Friday night game. Louisville gets it done at home. They're 3-point underdogs versus an FSU team that I'm really not impressed by. I understand FSU is 2-0. One of their wins is against Duquesne. The other, they beat LSU when they easily could have lost. So I think Louisville gets that win just kind of as an extra game. But then this is another parity game. You have an LSU team coming in. They're 1-1. They are taking on Mississippi State, who's 2-0. Guys, if we want to really... Well, actually, this is why it's tough for the SEC. Originally, I was going to say, if the problem is if Mississippi State wins this game, they're going to be ranked. But then what if LSU beats Mississippi State? They'll probably also be ranked. That's the SEC for you. So it's like a lose-lose no matter who wins for the rest of us. But I do have LSU as 2.5-point underdogs winning this game at home. I don't think Mississippi State starts 3-0. There's good value in LSU. The AI models agree with me. They're saying LSU is 1-point favorites. They're a lock. So LSU wins a close game, but they're at home. Jane Daniels, he's good enough. They've got enough talent. Keyshawn Booty against the Mississippi State team, who they've got a veteran quarterback, really good QB. I just don't think they start 3-0 personally. This is normally how college football is. Both of these teams end up being 2-1 after week 3. So, guys, those are my major teams I'm putting on upset alert. It's Georgia. It's Texas. And then these other ones, I mean, they're really not that big of upsets. Like, if you're a 3-point favorite and you lose, it's not really an upset. Like Washington, that's not an upset. But they are favorites. They are favorites. We're probably going to see other upsets that we did not expect because it is college football. This week, people are a little bit down. There's not a lot of great games. But, guys, when South Carolina wins, it's going to be crazy tomorrow. It will be the biggest thing of the week. So, guys, make sure you're following me on Twitter. Link to that's always in the description. I'm, of course, the Depressed Ginger. Thank you for watching.